Prophet's first wife was Khadija, a wealthy businesswoman and initially his employer. She was 15 years senior to him when she asked for his hand in marriage. When she died aged 70, the Prophet remarried the same year to Aisha, who was a young girl. There are claims that Abu Bakr initially approached Muhammad asking him to marry his daughter, but this is not true. Sahih Bukhari 7.18. The Prophet asked Abu Bakr for Aisha's hand in marriage. Abu Bakr said, "But I am your brother." The Prophet said, "You are my brother in Allah's religion and his book, but she is lawful for me to marry." At the time of the marriage, Aisha was just 6 years old, and the Prophet consummated his marriage with her when she was 9. He was then 54 years old. There are numerous hadith that explicitly reveal the age of Aisha at the time of her marriage. Here are just some of them. Sahih Bukhari, book 62, 64. The Prophet married her when she was 6 years old, and he consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old. Sahih Bukhari 8, number 3310. Aisha reported, Allah's Apostle married me when I was 6 years old, and I was admitted to his house when I was 9 years old. Sahih Bukhari, book 62, number 88. The Prophet wrote the marriage contract with Aisha while she was 6 years old, and consummated his marriage with her when she was 9 years old. Sahih Bukhari 5.236. Khadija died 3 years before the Prophet departed to Medina. He stayed there for 2 years or so, and then he married Aisha when she was a girl of 6 years of age, and he consummated that marriage when she was 9 years old. The evidence is further supported by the following events. Sahih Bukhari 5.234. Narrated Aisha, "The Prophet engaged me when I was a girl of 6. We went to Medina and stayed at the home of Bani al-Harith bin Khajraj. Then I got ill and my hair fell down. Later on my hair grew again, and my mother, Roman, came to me while I was playing on a swing with some of my girlfriends. She called me and I went to her, not knowing what she wanted to do with me. She caught me by the hand and made me stand at the door of the house. I was breathless then, and when my breathing became all right, she took me some water and rubbed my face and head with it. Then she took me into the house. There in the house I saw some Ansari women who said, 'Best wishes and Allah's blessing and a good luck.' Then she entrusted me to them and they prepared me for the marriage. Unexpectedly, Allah's Apostle came to me in the forenoon, and my mother handed me over to him, and at that time I was a girl of 9 years of age." In the above hadith, we read that Aisha was on a swing, and the following quotes are also interesting. Sahih Muslim, book 8, number 3311. Aisha reported that Allah's Apostle married her when she was 7 years old, and she was taken to his house as a bride when she was 9. And her dolls were with her, and when he died she was 18 years old. Sahih Bukhari, volume 8, book 73, number 151. Narrated Aisha, "I used to play with the dolls in the presence of the Prophet, and my girlfriends also used to play with me. When Allah's Apostle used to enter home, they used to hide themselves, but the Prophet would call them to join and play with me." Incidentally, playing with dolls and similar images was forbidden, but it was allowed for Aisha at the time, as she was a little girl, having not yet reached the age of puberty, according to Fath al-Bari, page 143, volume 13. Allah revealed to the Prophet that Muslim men are permitted to marry up to 4 women. Quran 4.3. "Marry other women of your choice, 2 or 3 or 4. But if you fear that you shall not be able to deal justly with them, then only one, or the captives of the slaves that your right hands possess." Despite this, Muhammad only allowed one wife for his son-in-law Ali, who was married to his daughter Fatima. When Ali desired to take a second wife, Muhammad insisted he first divorce Fatima before taking a new wife. Sahih Bukhari 7:62-157. "I heard Allah's Apostle who was on the pulpit saying, 'Banu Hisham bin al-Mughira have requested me to allow them to marry their daughter to Ali bin Abu Talib, but I don't give permission and will not give permission unless Ali bin Abu Talib divorces my daughter in order to marry their daughter, because Fatima is a part of my body, and I hate what she hates to see, and what hurts her hurts me. Safiya. This young and beautiful 17-year-old was a newly widowed young Jewish bride, and was among those captured women and children at the war of Khaybar. She was the daughter of the leader of Bani Nadir Hui ibn Akhtab. Her father was executed by the Prophet, and she had just lost her brother, husband, and all other male relatives in that war. Ibn Hisham, from the Al-Sirah al-Nabawiyya, writes about Kinana ibn al-Rabi, Safiya's former husband. Kinana al-Rabi, who was the custody of the treasure of Banu Nadir, was brought to the Apostle, who asked him about it. He denied that he knew where it was. A Jew came, Tabari says he was brought, to the Apostle, and said that he had seen Kinana going round a certain ruin every morning early. When the Apostle said to Kinana, "Do you know that if we find you have it, I shall kill you?" He said, "Yes." The Apostle gave orders that the ruin was to be excavated, and some of the treasure was found. When he asked him about the rest, he refused to produce it. So the Apostle gave orders to Al-Zubair al-Awwam, "Torture him until you extract what he has." So he kindled a fire with flint and steel on his chest until he was nearly dead. Then the Apostle delivered him to Muhammad bin Maslama, and he struck off his head. Safiya had suffered a great tragedy and was weeping, but she had been selected as the booty for the Prophet. According to Sahih Hadith, Prophet asked for sex the same day, but she did not allow because of her menstruation, and on the second day the Prophet had married her and consummated her on the way back to Medina. By what yardstick can we measure the mercifulness and compassionateness of this Prophet? As can be seen, there are two sides to every story. While Zainab was still married to Zayd, his adopted son, the Prophet paid a visit to his house, but he was not at home. Not expecting Prophet Muhammad to be at the door, Zainab answered the door instead, and from this moment the Prophet decided he wanted to marry her. When Zayd learned of the Prophet's desire, he divorced Zainab. However, the Prophet was already married to the limit of 4 wives, so Allah then sent him a revelation which set an exemption for him alone. Quran 33.50. O Prophet Muhammad, verily, we have made lawful to you your wives, to whom you have paid their meher, and those captives or slaves whom your right hand possesses, whom God has given to you, and the daughters of your paternal uncles, and the daughters of your paternal aunts, and the daughters of your maternal uncle, and the daughters of your maternal aunts who migrated from Mecca with you, and a believing woman if she offers herself to the Prophet, and the Prophet wishes to marry her. A privilege for you only, not for the rest of the believers. Upon this revelation, Prophet Muhammad married her. At the time, this turned into quite a scandal amongst the Arabs, who equated Muhammad's actions with incest. Also Aisha, the wife he was closest to, noted that these new revelations from Allah appeared to be very convenient. Sahih Muslim, Book 8, number 3454. Allah revealed, "You may defer any of them you wish, and take to yourself any you wish." Aisha said, "It seems to me that your Lord hastens to satisfy your desire." Undeterred, the Prophet married again and again, until he had fulfilled Allah's remit of 7 wives.